The next speaker is the founder of Stearn AI, Ashleigh Stearn. Stearn AI specializes in building customized AI agent teams to automate content production, SEO, distribution, and operational workflows. And in just a second, Ashleigh will share an introduction to AI agents and get us to question if you really need them or not. Time to bring in Ashleigh Stearn.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I'm super grateful to be here to be able to present to you today. My name is Ash. I am the founder of Ashleigh Stearn AI. We currently offer consulting services as well as training programs and mentorship programs, which are mainly catered towards my lovely ladies out there within the AI industry. I'm a very big advocate for women and also the LGBTQI community. Just a bit about how I got here today. So over time, I have kind of really dabbled in ChatGPT, and obviously that's where it all started. Began advancing in my prompt engineering skills, and then obviously one thing led to another, and I came across Relevance AI and really just put so much blood, sweat, and tears to learning about the platform. I was an early adopter, which then allowed me to be granted I guess, the badge of becoming a partner and a certified expert with Relevance AI. So after that, currently just posting content on LinkedIn and just really trying to make a move in the AI industry. I was featured on Forbes magazine. I've been able to connect with so many lovely entrepreneurs, one including Heather Murray, who is a big figure within the AI industry at the moment. And then obviously doing presentations like this for summits similar to this one, and a recent one was just with Joe Glover over at the marketing meetup. So and now, obviously, the biggest accomplishment of all was actually turning from a very non-technical person to now being considered a technical geek, which I consider one of the biggest compliments ever. So, yes, I am coming from that non-technical background as previously being a content writer, to now actually building out pretty complex agent systems and obviously teaching people how to do that as well. So what we'll do is we'll jump into the presentation and we'll get started. All right, so I'll just sort myself out here, move my face, and we'll get going. Okay, so today's presentation is really going to be an introduction to AI agents and really trying to get you guys to have a better understanding so you can answer this question of, do you really need them? All right, so just an overview. So we've already kind of gone over who I am, what are AI agents, and then we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into ChatGPT, custom GPTs, and AI agents, just doing a bit of a feature comparison there, and when should you use each option. Then we'll dive into other tools such as Make, which is an automation tool, and then two AI agent building platforms, that is Relevance AI and N8N. Then, of course, actually my favorite part, which is also doing a bit of a reality check and just setting some expectations for everyone as well. Okay, so what are AI agents? AI agents are literally like digital employees. When you think about when somebody goes out and hires an employee, what are those key things that they're looking for? Well, they're looking for those experiences and skill set that is matching their job description. So literally, this is what an AI agent is. The process is obviously different, but the wonderful and beautiful thing about it is that you can actually create your digital employee from scratch, and how you want it. So you're going to program it how you want it to work, the tasks it's going to be taken care of as well. So that's kind of this analogy of a digital employee, which I actually think is a really great way to kind of view it. Obviously, we're not going into the mindset of they're replacing employees or human employees. They're really acting as assistants or just an add-on into your departments as well. So that's what I love about AI agents and just the whole concept of building them out for businesses. So essentially what they can do is they can execute tasks on their own, they can complex problem solve, they have the ability to interact with various external tools, they can work independently toward goals without constant human input. And now that last one is pretty important. Okay, so this, just in a nutshell, we're going to think of them as upgrading from an AI that just answers questions like ChatGPT to one that can actually take action and get things done for you without constant supervision. So, what are the differences between an AI agent, a custom GPT, and a traditional chatbot? So, if you don't know what a custom GPT is by now, a custom GPT is kind of something that you can build out yourself as long as you have a paid subscription to ChatGPT, and it allows you to add extra data with specific instructions to perform better in a particular area. So, it's trained on additional targeted content, so it understands the nuances of a specific topic, industry, or task, and it follows defined guidelines on style and tone. So it really just kind of adds a level of customization, and it's one step up from just using the good old ChatGPT. Right now, because I am a massive travel freak, just a or geek freak, whatever you want to call it. One thing you should know about me is I'm also an expat. So I'm originally from Sydney, Australia, but currently here living in Italy, the wonderful place of pasta and pizza. Although I do travel very frequently between the two countries. So obviously, this analogy here, ChatGPT helped me out with, taking into consideration that I love travel. So an AI agent is like a knowledgeable tour guide who not only shows you around but also adapts to your preferences. They're going to answer unexpected questions and they're going to make decisions right in the moment. So, for example, changing the route due to weather. They can even book tickets, arrange transportation, or solve problems that arise during the trip. So, really, just kind of hitting hard that point there that AI agents are really quite autonomous. So, that's one of their main key traits here that we've got listed. They're proactive and they're capable of handling complex multi-step tasks. Our custom GPT-based system is like a detailed travel book tailored to your destination. It provides rich information and insights about places to visit, but it doesn't act on your behalf. If you need to book a ticket or a plane route, you have to do it yourself. So the key traits here is that it's context aware and informative, but it lacks autonomy and action-taking abilities. Right, so a traditional chatbot is like a fixed information kiosk at a tourist spot. It provides answers to common questions, such as where is the restroom, but only within its program scope. If you ask something outside of its database, it's not going to be able to help. So that's really kind of hitting here that it's very rule-based and it's quite limited. So it's not going to be able to answer questions that it doesn't already have within it, within its capabilities of answering for you or within its knowledge set. Right. These images were actually created by Midjourney. So this one was actually my favorite. Super, super cute here. But yeah, that's really just kind of understanding the main differences between these three different, I guess, ideas of so going from an AI agent to custom GPT to then a traditional chatbot, which you might actually find that you encounter when you're browsing on the internet, when you're shopping on the internet, whatever that might be. You have this little widget. It's like a little chatbot bubble, and that's a typical chatbot right there. All right, so here's just a table of a very detailed table, which we're not going to go into too much. We're not going to spend too much time on. Sorry. So it does the comparison here between an AI agent, custom GPT, and a traditional chatbot. One thing I really want to highlight though is the decision-making capabilities between all three of them. So an AI agent. They're going to make independent decisions, plan workflows, and execute multiple steps without human intervention. A custom GPT will generate responses based on custom instructions but needs user guidance. So a custom GPT, in order for it to work, just like as if you were to go into the GPT chatting interface there, it's the same thing. You're going to need to prompt it. So this is where prompt engineering skills really come into play. And if you want a solid and sound output or result from or response, I guess, from your custom GPT or chat GPT, your prompt engineering needs to be pretty good to be able to do that. So, but it is again that back and forth exchange between the user and the LLM, which is ChatGPT. All right, so a traditional chatbot, it's limited to predefined responses and it has no decision making between interactions either. Okay, so that's just one thing I want to highlight there. And then obviously autonomy level, an AI agent is high, custom GPT is medium, and then you've got a traditional chatbot, which is quite low in comparison. All right, so we're going to dive deeper into what is ChatGPT, custom GPTs, and AI agents, just so we have a very well-rounded view of what each of those things are, how we might use them, and then determining in what situations would you use one over the other. All right, so ChatGPT. So the configuration and setup for this is that the zero configuration you use via the OpenAI interface or the API. The customization is limited to prompts and settings like browse with Bing or advanced data analysis. So again, here we're highlighting the whole idea that it's prompting. Again, prompt engineering. Again, that whole back and forth exchange between the user and the LLM in order to generate results. The technical skill is very beginner friendly, so obviously anybody can jump in and just start typing away. So it's best for quick product descriptions, blog drafts, social media captions, and rapid content creation and blog topic brainstorming. So obviously here we're kind of highlighting the idea again that it's quite limited to prompts, just like with our custom GPT. So again, you do need that back and forth exchange between the user and ChatGPT in order to generate results. Prompt engineering, again, is a skill that really needs to be developed to be able to, I guess, have results that are very detailed, very clear, and something that is actually worth using. The key features, it's pre-trained for general knowledge and conversational tasks. Plugins and tools, which is DALL-E, web browsing, can be enabled, but not deeply customized. So yeah, the level of customization here is really very, very limited. DALL-E is actually, if you didn't know, it allows you to generate images using AI. And then obviously you've got access to the web as well. So a custom GPT, the setup, it requires configuration via OpenAI's GPT Builder, okay, or API fine-tuning, which we're not going to touch on too much in this presentation. Customization, you can train on proprietary data, so PDFs, FAQs, SEO guidelines, define instructions, tone, and domain-specific knowledge. All right, so the technical skill here is intermediate. It's best for brand consistent blog articles, SEO optimized product content. So content creation are following specific brand rules and style guides. So the key features really are it's tailored responses for niche domains. And then you've got actions and API integrations, such as tools like Slack or your CRM, or it could be any other content scheduling tools, for example, Metricool or Content Studio. So and really, here, just another thing to note is that the action and API integrations, yes, a custom GPT has the ability to do that, but you're very limited in how many API integrations you can actually perform with custom GPT. I have seen that if you add too many integrations here with it, it does tend to slow down I guess the consistency in the output is also becomes a lot more vague. It just kind of starts to fizzle out a little bit. So just be very cautious of that. And if you weren't sure, an API is just essentially a key that is connecting to other external tools. Like I mentioned before, Slack, CRM, or other content scheduling tools, for example. Okay, so AI agents, they have a complex architecture. The customization is that they're programs with content goals, publishing workflows, and engagement metrics. Technical skills quite advanced. So it's best for content calendar management, multi-platform publishing, and SEO tracking. So end-to-end content production, distribution, and performance analysis. The key features here is that it has the ability, again, the word autonomy. So autonomy to plan tasks, right? Generate a content calendar with strategic topics based on SEO, seasonality, and audience interests, and then self-improvement via reinforcement learning or user feedback loops. So this is just absolutely impressive. Something that we can achieve within the AI agents we're currently building within Relevance AI using a technique called DSPy, which is quite interesting to be experimenting with at the moment. So it essentially is an agent that is able to learn from your user feedback, but also how you're responding to certain outputs or how you might be responding to clients via an email. The agent is able to observe and learn as it's going, which is just incredible, insane to a point as well. All right, so interaction styles. So how you work with each option. So the input here, so ChatGPT, again, like we mentioned before, but just really repeating it here, you're going to use text prompts. That's how it works. If without a text prompt, it's not going to generate anything. You're just going to get a whole room full of crickets and silence unless you're writing something to it. All right, a custom GPT, you need prompts plus domain specific data that you can add to its knowledge and custom instructions. And then you've got an AI agent where you're really just giving it goals and objectives. And then it's going to do what it needs to do to be able to achieve those goals. So the output here for ChatGPT is text, images, and code. It does a pretty fine job at this one now, which with after all of its iterations and new releases, it does a pretty good job at coding. Uh, Custom GPT, domain tailored responses, and then obviously your AI agents, the output is going to be very specific actions. So your actions in this case, building an AI agent does require multiple skills, and one of those is actually building out automations. And we'll get into more detail on that just coming up on the next slides. Okay, so our user role, you need to be the direct controller. So you control everything. You aren't going to receive anything without explicitly stating what you want, how you want it, and how you want the results to look. So really is kind of definitely micromanaging. Whereas a custom GPT, you're more of a supervisor. So you are going to be reviewing the content, but you're not going into that mindset of micromanaging every little thing that a custom GPT is doing. So an AI agent, you're more of a strategist to really just kind of taking that overall look. You're not, there might be some reviewing steps in there and just obviously some feedback, but you're not, again, taking that complete control. It is really an AI agent is able to flow, make decisions without you, although you would be probably programming it to understand how it's supposed to make those decisions, but you're really coming in from a very strategic point of view here. Yeah. So feature comparison. So we're going to look at autonomy. So who's in control? ChatGPT requires a step-by-step prompting for each content task, right? So for example, write a blog post about summer fashion trends. Now, obviously this is not a fully built out prompt. So you definitely are not going to put this into ChatGPT, but that's just kind of giving a very simple idea. And as you'll see here, just how different the example might be for a custom GPT. So they follow a predefined workflows, but they need prompting. So for example, create social media content for our new collection, and it's going to use your brand voice automatically. An AI agent, though, is going to act independently to achieve content marketing goals. So you're going to give it some goals and some objectives, and then it will autonomously create blog posts, social content, and email newsletters based on content calendar. So in saying all of this, it's not as simple as it might seem. There is a lot going on in the background that needs to actually be built before any of this kind of stuff can actually happen. And so we're going to jump into our tools after this little comparison here, and you'll see what I mean by that. But the next one coming up, we're going to look at adaptability. So how do they learn? ChatGPT, static knowledge. There's a cutoff date that applies. So I think it's around 2023. Do not quote me. My brain is fried. I don't know if it's 2023 or 2024. So the limitation here is that it may not know about latest content trends or social media formats, which obviously with especially social media, just with those algorithmic changes and updates that are going on, that's something that's really important. A custom GPT is going to evolve with new brand content and style guides, but you will manually have to update those. An example is updated when new brand messaging or seasonal campaigns launch. All right, so an AI agent is going to learn from content engagement metrics. Example here is it will automatically adjust content strategy based on blog traffic, social shares, and email open rates. Integration, how do they connect to content platforms? So ChatGPT is limited to OpenAI approved plugins. The limitation is that it can browse the web, but it can't directly post to your WordPress site. Custom GPT will connect to content platforms via APIs, which, like I mentioned before, are like keys that give you access to these external tools that you might be using. An example of that can pull product data from your catalog to create accurate blog content. The AI agent is going to orchestrate the entire content ecosystem. So, for example, it's going to coordinate between WordPress, Instagram, TikTok, and email platforms to deliver cohesive cross-platform storytelling. So when should you use each option? Okay, so I need quick blog posts and social captions, ChatGPT. I want on-brand content tailored to my products and audience, custom GPT. I need a comprehensive content strategy across channels, an AI agent. So that really just kind of helps you to differentiate between when you'd use one over the other. But what about other automation tools like Make or Zapier? Can they do the same thing an AI agent can do? And this is a question I get a lot. Yes and no, and here is what I mean by that. So quickly, just briefly, what Make is, it's a no-code automation platform. It gives you the ability to connect to various different apps to allow you to create these workflows and enables users to automate tasks and design these workflows visually, but without any kind of programming or coding knowledge. So it really goes into showing how the no-code really applies into this in this platform. All right, these are just some examples. Now, two things to kind of note here is that yes, you've got all these different app integrations, and this is what we mean by app integration. So you've got Medium, you've got LinkedIn, you've got ChatGPT here, you've got RSS, you've got Airtable, which is a database tool, so and Perplexity. But what you notice mainly, maybe not with this one because it's kind of somebody whoever did this was like in the circle, don't know what they were thinking, but anyway, so it starts from one point, right? And it might split off and it might generate a whole bunch of different outputs, but it has an end point as well. And then it stops, it finishes. So it's very rigid in nature, it's very linear as well. And then you've got things like this here, which is a router. You might have a text parser and an iterator. And what these things do is that it allows you to put in predefined rules or conditions. Here we've got filters as well. So you really have to put in these rules for this automation or workflow to essentially do what it needs to do. And without those, the workflow is not going to work or function properly. So it's really taking out the whole decision-making ability, such as an AI agent, that is able to do that. So here, you can't. All right, but as you'll learn that it's not completely irrelevant because an automation like Make on the workflows that you just saw before now become relevant when you're building out your AI agents. It is one of those skills you will need to learn. So this will kind of all come into shape once you start learning more about these separate platforms to build your agents on. So Relevance AI is a platform that specializes in making your workflows smarter by adding decision making through AI and essentially obviously building your agents. So instead of just following a predefined steps, it can take action based on context, understanding data, and the input. So for example, it can scan thousands of product reviews, social mentions, identifying recurring themes. We use natural language processing, so just ChatGPT. Might not be ChatGPT, it could be a different model that you might be using, such as Claude, but it can generate data-backed content ideas such as blog posts addressing common concerns or Instagram reels highlighting popular product features. So really here, it does all the thinking and decision making for you. All right, so this is like an interaction that you might have with an AI agent that you've created, or multiple agents in this case. So I created a content production manager for someone at the moment, and what this has attached to it are 3 different sub agents. So this is what you're going to see how your agents are going to work. Obviously, this is how my content production manager is delegating to my sub agent, which is a content organizer. We're delegating then to LinkedIn. And then from LinkedIn, we're then delegating to the guide writer as well. And as you view each conversation, you can actually see what's being said, but also what information is being passed from one agent to the next agent. And then obviously we're reporting back to our content production manager who's providing an update to the user. So this specific use case, the user is actually directly using the Relevance AI interface to be able to interact with the agents. So N8N in a nutshell, it's an automation tool that's designed for more advanced and highly customizable workflows. Kind of think of it as a power user version of Make. It offers a similar drag and drop experience, but gives you far deeper control over how your automations run. It can also function as a powerful platform for building AI agents. It does require a more technical setup. So obviously, if you're a non-technical person, I definitely would not start off with N8N, because it does have this very technical kind of feel, very similar to what you might see visually from Make. It's the same kind of thing here with N8N. But one of its biggest advantages here is that you've got the freedom to self-host, which just really is a massive bonus for big businesses that have stricter security or compliance requirements. So that is just a fantastic opportunity there for those larger companies. And because it's open source, it does mean that if you've got a technical team, they can kind of go into the back end, they can play around with the code a little bit and really get it to perform to how the business or the company want it to perform. So it's really quite amazing. Also, because it's open source, you do have developers who are creating various integrations for N8N, so it's very community based as well. All right, so this is just an example of what you might find or what you might build. So like I said, it's kind of similar to Make in terms of visually how you're going to be building it out. And this is kind of what we get here. So, it starts from one, it kind of branches off into here, and then it branches off into your other agents as well. So it's very different to how Relevance AI is set up, but as well as developing almost like these automation skills when you're building your agents, you also need to learn the platform. And that's a skill in of itself because each platform is very different with how you build your agents. All right, so when to use what? So when do you know when to use Make? Relevance AI, here's just a very quick guide to kind of show you. So when to use Make, when you need an automation tool that's easy for anyone to use, and I say easy for anyone to use, those examples that I did show you, I guess, more on the complex side of things. They can actually be very, very simple. And I've only used Make for like uploading information into a Google document sheet before. So, they can be quite complex, but also very simple and pretty easy to set up. So this is also when your tasks follow the same steps every time. You're connecting to a bunch of apps in a straightforward way. You need something affordable. Make is definitely a lot more affordable than Zapier, and you just want to get something simple up and running fast. So we have Relevance AI. You're going to choose it when your tasks need decision-making power. Your workflows might change based on the situation. You need a human to review things. You need more flexibility in how things are handled. And you're serious about leveraging AI beyond simple triggers and actions, which is what you're going to get from something like Make. So N8N, you're going to choose it when you need a more robust production-ready solution. You want to consolidate your automation and AI agent implementation in one platform. Okay, you're dealing with high volume tasks that need to run reliably with advanced error handling. You want flexibility to self-host. You have a technical team that's comfortable working with a bit more complexity. So again, really just kind of making this point clear here. It is quite technical to be able to set up and build something in it. Not to say that it's impossible, because it's absolutely not. If I dedicated enough time and hours into it, of course, anyone's going to be able to learn it. Although that learning curve might be slightly steeper than if you were to start off with a platform like Relevance AI. All right, so this is just a very quick table. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but again, we have our workflow type here and the differences between Make and the AI agents. So let's look, for example, at project management. So for Make, you might create tasks in Asana when new leads are added to a CRM like HubSpot with conditional logic. And then our AI agent is going to prioritize tasks dynamically, assign them to a team member based on workload, and adjust deadlines as needed, which is pretty cool, extremely cool, considering the massive differences there between the two. So hopefully that just gives you a better idea between Make, which is a simple automation tool, and using and building an AI agent. Okay, so reality checking and setting some expectations, especially if you're a non-technical person. Okay, so like I mentioned throughout the presentation, you will be developing multiple skills at once, and one of those is automations. So like I said, within Relevance AI, it's not as clear as in that example I gave you of the screenshot, but behind in the scenes, what you're actually creating for these agents is that you're creating tools, and these tools essentially act as the skills for your agents. But what they are at the very core of them are automations. They're very linear. They require some input or some information to go into it. And using that information, it's then going to start this entire automation that will then generate one or sometimes multiple different results at the end, which we refer to as outputs. So that's just one skill. You then have to learn the platform that you're building on. You also need to understand how agents work. And it is very, very different to how custom GPT, chat GPT is going to function, because there are so many moving parts to it that you really need to understand. And this is why I kind of want to explain as well, just briefly, that planning your agent team is really important, just so you've got an overview and a higher level idea of what is actually going on and what you're building towards. So you want to start there first before then you start building. You must already have a basic knowledge of prompt engineering. That is really important for anything, for any of the platforms. Without a doubt, you're going to be encountering LLMs. Relevance AI heavily relies on prompt engineering, and that is how you actually get your AI agent to work and function. Is just a very, very long, sometimes very long, sometimes not, agent prompt. Okay, so it's a chain of thought prompt, but again, you need to understand prompt engineering and what a chain of thought prompt is for it to actually work, and allow you to write something that is going to help the agents to be consistent with its outputs. Okay, so the learning curve is steep. I'm not going to kind of sugarcoat it. It's very, very steep. Obviously, it depends on your learning style and just how non-technical you are. Obviously, I was writing blogs before I was doing this, so if I can do it, then anybody can do it. I obviously take a little bit longer to learn as well, so I really have to dedicate many, many hours to learn something. But it's really not a matter of just following along to a presentation like I'm doing now, but you really have to apply what you're learning, and you really have to go through that process of trial and error, and don't stop when that error comes. Put it to a side. In the future, you might figure it out, which happened to me so many times, where I had a problem and then maybe 4 months later, I actually understood why I was having that problem. So just keep going. It's not a plug and play situation. So if you're using templates, just be aware here that if you don't understand the platform and you don't understand how it works, you might be able to get a template working. But then again, if you want to customize it, and you change one little thing with that template, it could mean that your entire tool or agent is just not going to work anymore. So you really don't go get into the idea that you can just upload a template and then it's all good. Although templates are extremely good for a learning, to help you to learn how an agent or a tool is structured. So that's how I actually learned a lot, was by copying templates and starting from scratch, but then just copying the steps that each template had within it. And that's how I quickly learned how to connect everything together. You also need to see the bigger picture of the agent hierarchy before you begin building anything. So just like I mentioned earlier, you really need to go into just planning and just understanding the exact process, and really getting into the finer details of how your AI agent team is going to look, and what are the tools that you're going to plan out for those agents as well. So when you have an understanding of that, it helps you just kind of visualize where it's going without getting too distracted. So my personal and professional opinion as a non-techie on agents, I would definitely highly recommend starting off with Relevance AI. It is a lot more user-friendly. It's very easy to navigate as well. They've built a wonderful platform where it's very straightforward to use, and again, like I said, just easy to navigate. So obviously, if you do want to take it then the next level up from moving away from relevance AI to something more complex and technical, then you'd go into something like NAN afterwards. So this is the ultimate question. Do you really need AI agents? So hopefully I've given you enough information here about what tool to use, and just the differences between ChatGPT and a custom GPT here, to help you just really understand whether it's actually worth the investment, time and money, into actually building AI agents for your business. So just as we're coming to a close, I'm actually offering a 6-week mentoring program. So this mentoring program is really just going to be mainly for my wonderful ladies out there who want to get started building their own agents. It is going to include weekly scheduled sessions that will teach you how to start building your own using Relevance AI. So these are 1.5 hour sessions, and week 5 and 6 we actually build our own agents together as a group, and we really start consolidating all of those things that I've taught you in the previous weeks. Okay, and with that, you also get 2 one-on-one sessions to assist you on your building journey. So this program is starting on Tuesday, April 1st. It is limited to a small group of 8 ladies. So for those who attended the Ecom Agent Summit, you will receive an extra free session with me, a one-on-one session. So we could and we can do that and structure that however you'd like. Again, just saying that it starts on Tuesday, April 1st. And of course, how can you contact me? Well, you can do that by reaching out to me on LinkedIn or just flicking me an email at ash@ashsternai.com. Yeah, so that's it. That concludes everything. I thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to connect with everyone soon. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Ashleigh, big thanks to you for exploring the role of AI agents in modern business operations. We really appreciate your insights.